The dungeon debate.
All right. To murder someone, are saws or knives better?
That is not the debate.
Oh.
But now I'm curious. All right, anyway.
Oh.
Well, yeah, no, we're not getting into that. That's an interesting one, but no. The dungeon debate this week is Mage Hand as a cantrip versus Message as a cantrip. Which one is better? Straight up better. More useful, better. I believe it is Message.
You're dumb.
Okay.
So please tell me what does Message do?
Yeah, let's go ahead and just say what each one does. They're really simple, so this will be quick. Message is basically, I'll spare you all the details, but basically you point and can communicate silently with that person. So it's kind of like a long-range whisper. So like you could whisper like across the room to someone or across a large, I think it's 120 feet, and get a message to them silently. That's what Message does.
Well, I mean, I just see a situation where like someone's in like a window and they look down and someone's just pointing like finger guns and someone's next to them like, what are you doing? just like trying to do a message. But yes, I chose Mage Hand. As all reasonable people, Mage Hand is freaking spectacular. So you're probably thinking, what is Mage Hand? Well, basically, you make an invisible hand. Like I just
It's not invisible. It's magical, not invisible.
Right. It's magical. But yes, you make a magical hand, which is sick. You know? But it is a cantrip. It takes an action to create, and you have a 30-foot radius around you. You have to speak verbally and sign language. And it lasts for a minute, but you could just redo it. It's a cantrip, so I'm not even sure why that's even there. And the only condition is it can't attack, can't cast spells, and it can't hold more things heavier than 10 pounds.
It's not very much.
Yeah, but there are some pretty cool things that you can do with it.
Okay.
So, one thing is you can, if you're in a dungeon, Mage Hand is crazy for dungeons. It's actually super useful. So let's say there's like a wall of fire, or like there's a thing where there's a small chest, but there's a thing of spikes that will go out and stab you if you touch it. You could say, I cast Mage Hand, and I reach out and I grab it, and the spikes go through the Mage Hand, but your Mage Hand just still holds the item. You can put it nice in your pocket, and you can flex with the guy that's pointing finger gun saying, he points the finger saying, good job.
Yeah, that's useful.
Yeah. You can also, you could test if a chest is a mimic or not. So when something touches it, the mimic opens, bites it, realizes, man, there's no one here, and then everyone else just has their magic and just bows ready, just fire upon it, just freaking kill it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's useful.
Yeah, useful. You can also pickpocket people. Let's say the guards arrested you for being a murder hobo, but you're like, I need to get my killing spree up. So you look at the guard and you see that he has keys on his side, right? So you can use Mage Hand, you can pickpocket the man and open your cell up. And the guard's like, wait, why is the gate up? And then fireball to the face. He's dead. Booyah.
You had fireball, I could just start with that. But alright.
Well, that would... No.
Just blow off the
That's
door.
unclassy.
Okay.
It's not classy, Jake.
You should get the dog to do it. Like in Pirates of the Caribbean.
But what happened if you had a Mage Hand and reach up, grab the dog and say,
get over here.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. See, you can also, if you know something is bad by touching it, if you see this one gold ring that kind of like whispers to you, you're like, I don't want to touch that, use Mage Hand. Mage Hand will pick it up and put it in your pouch. So it eliminates cursed and harmful things by touching it. You can also, this is kind of a unique one that I thought of and viewed. You can open, drawbridges with it. So let's say there's like a castle siege, and the people are like, stupid attackers, idiots.
Drawbridges sometimes require like multiple people to like move and turn the chain.
Not in real life. Well, some castles, but there's normally a lever inside of the gate or the wall. So if you can physically see the lever, which is most likely, there's like a window.
What's the range on this?
30 feet.
30 feet.
A drawbridge is not more than 30 feet. That's
Could
insane.
be.
Most drawbridges are between 10
No,
to
but
15.
you have to not only get across the moat, but you have to get like into the wall. You have to get past. Like there's gonna be land
Generally,
past
it's 25
the moat.
Most castles are. Booyah. History
Barely.
facts.
I mean,
barely.
barely.
But it's still barely, so it's
all right,
still
these
works.
are a lot of.
So basically, you can open it, and the people are like, "Ho, you can't get on our castle." But then it opens, and then your army charges in and kills them all. Boom! You won with Mage Hand.
Are those all your specific examples?
No, there is more.
Okay, well, hurry it up.
You can set Mage Hand as a distraction. You know, when the guards like stop right there, cranimal scum, you could spook them out by touching them, just normally touching them. You know, poke them on the neck. They're like, "What the heck was that?" And then you can just distract them and run away.
Okay.
Good distractions. You can use all sorts of things. If you want to flex on your fellow companions, just have just be sitting there and your wine comes up, you know, and then you use Mage Hand. You could use Mage Hand to pick up an umbrella while it's raining.
All right, are these all
major flex?
Are these all your examples?
Yeah, what are yours, buddy?
Okay, I don't have a bunch of random examples because there'd be
random examples. They're actually very useful.
There'd
examples.
be too many to count. They're infinite.
So, are you going to message a cursed item? Say, please don't kill me.
No, Mage Hand is very useful, and
extremely.
It's definitely up there in like the best cantrips.
Or you can give someone a message with a letter.
Okay, so message is useful in a very general sense, which is why I think it's the best one. It can be used in pretty much any situation outside combat. You could use it in combat, but it's not as helpful in combat because it does take an action to do. Okay, so but what I'm picturing here with message is any situation in which you need to convey information. So knowledge is power, right? Information is key. These things are true, but they're only true if you're able to communicate these things. Like, if information doesn't matter if you can't communicate it. So message can be very useful for a team of PCs. Imagine you have a character doing something and another character keeping watch. Well, the character keeping watch is pointless if the character can't communicate with the player that needs to know what the character is watching. So what you can do is just point and communicate. And so this helps coordinate kind of these
or you could just
complex maneuvers that the parties can do.
I mean, you could just walk over and talk to the person.
Imagine you're playing D&D. And I don't know, things are more complicated than that, where you have to be stealthy or you have to be strategic. And
then just make a stealth check. That's why it exists.
Imagine someone is standing on the roof watching the street, and someone is waiting at the bottom of the street for like a party to show up, and they're going to have like a complex thing. If the person at the top is waiting to see something, and they are going to communicate it with the person in the street, the way they can do that is just point to them and say it. And now that person down there gets the message.
Or just have someone with Mage Hand make a paper airplane, go out 30 feet and throw it to them.
Boom! That's not hidden.
It works.
That's not hidden at all.
It still works. What do you mean it's not hidden? People are like, oh, that's sick. There's like a paper airplane.
This is basically telepathy, right? But it's
not as good as telepathy.
But it's a cantrip. It's very nice. I mean, anyone can.
But if someone has telepathy in the party, it's useless.
No, that's not true, because telepathy can only be done with that person. This is just another form of telepathy, basically. But that's a very powerful ability, Mage Hand, or message, because just think of the countless situations in which you would want to communicate with someone that is hidden and not right next to them. Because sometimes you need to tell someone something, but you're not right next to them. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah, so message would be good in the stealthy, roguish approaches. But, like, definitely. Mage Hand just helps you in, like, general stuff. Like, imagine you're all locked up, and then you're like... But
Mage Hand is very limited. All you can really do...
It's not super limited. You can do all sorts of things.
It's not limited. It's just a matter of, are you messing with some physical object that is not 10 pounds, or are you communicating? Those are different. And so which one's more valuable? Being able to handle a physical object or communicate? And I think communication is much more versatile and more important and more helpful.
But what happens when you're, in the line and you see this item that could potentially curse you for your entire life and kill you? Would you really want to say, message, this thing's bad? So how do you deal with something like that with message? Mage Hand is very useful in that dramatic of situations.
Just because you gave an example where Mage Hand helps. I can give an example where message helps and Mage Hand doesn't.
No, but that's a very big help compared to message.
What, picking up a
major
how,
cursed
how
item?
often do you encounter cursed items? Not often. How often do you encounter the need to say something to someone, but you can't?
Well, what? Well,
it opens up so many pathways that you wouldn't even think. Like if you're across the room from someone, but you're in a public setting and this is like a secret thought.
Wait.
You can point at them and say it.
Wait, is this verbal? Like, what is this? Is it verbal? Do you have to, like, move your hands? Like,
yeah, you have to move your hands and speak it.
You do. So basically...
You whisper it. It's like you're whispering in someone's ear, but you can do it across the room.
But someone could still tell if you're doing that, though. So it's not just instant stealth. You still have to make a stealth check.
Okay, yes, but take the situation... Yes. Well, you do, but not really, because if you just point and just, like, mumble to yourself, what does that mean? No one's going to look at that and be like, he just sent a message magically
through the Dungeons and Dragons, and literally yesterday you were DMing saying, oh, I couldn't fly over as a bird, because people would say, oh, that's someone else. It's a thing of high magic. Most people... A lot of things would be like, yeah, you're definitely doing something.
But that's only true for the person sending the message. Normally, the person that is getting the message, like if you're the watchman, you don't need to be stealthy. You know what I mean? I mean, you're stealthy in that you don't want to be seen, but like you can point down into the street and give a message. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But in certain situations where communication is not visible, if you have someone that can mess with the environment, which is very powerful.
Only minorly, though. Only minorly mess with it. You can pick up keys. You can open a chest. You may not even be able to pick up what's inside of it. You know what I mean?
Well, why would you? You could just look in it.
If you can look in it, then why are you even use Mage Hand for?
You can still feel stuff with Mage Hand.
No, but let's say it's like a heavy item, like it's a sword or something. Like you can't pick it up.
A sword is not 10 pounds.
Okay, a big great axe, or who knows, or like a pouch of gems, like that could be heavy.
Then open the pouch, take every individual gem.
Imagine in the middle of combat, you want to tell someone that they have a weakness, or you want to communicate a strategy without the person knowing, but they're across the room. Right.
So you're going to stop in the middle of combat. So whispering the combat strategy to this dude while you're in the middle of combat. I think it would take a lot more than 6 seconds just to say, yeah,
let's say you're a wizard, right? So wizards would have cantrips, and this is a wizard cantrip. And you're in the middle of this battle, and you as a character perceive something important because you're a wise wizard. You can point to your barbarian and instantly tell them, do this. You know what I mean?
But no one else knows, though.
Only the barbarian knows, which is exactly the point. The enemies don't know. So the barbarian, you'll be able to plan with the barbarian. Or you'll say, dive to the side. I'm gonna fire a fireball. And you can say that, but you're not going to notify anyone else.
Well, I mean, you could just fire the fireball behind the monster and just blow up only the monster.
There's a lot of strategy.
But it kind of depends on the creature that you're fighting. If you're fighting people, just kill them. Duh.
Ethan, this would assume this is not just an easy fight.
Well, you could still tell. Well, because
just kill.
It really limits. But it does limit the party because not everyone else knows. If it's only the barbarian, they can't get to it. You're wasting that. Is it action?
It is an action.
That wastes your entire turn. So
but it could be very vital.
But you would never. But think about all this. Cast the fireball or that. Yeah, most people would cast the fireball.
D&D is not just harmony and then combat. Harmony and combat. There's a ton of problem solving that has nothing to do with combat. It's just how can you use your spells creatively. And so yes, if you're going through a dungeon and need to pick something up, sure, Mage Hand.
Or mess with traps.
But message is like a social spell. It allows you to communicate, which is hyper useful. Like super. Let's say you're all like mingling in like a party where like there's a killer somewhere and you're all like searching for it and you split the party and you're all taking and you can point at one of your companions and tell them something, and that's way more helpful than you pulling out. What would you even? There's nothing like all those situations where it's all about, you know, talking with your companions, coming up with a strategy. Like maybe you're like a detective, like you're investigating something, or you know you're trying to do some diplomatic mission. All these things you would use communication for. just picking up keys helps in like just.
Well, you could
some
still do other
situations.
stuff in combat. You would never use message.
You wouldn't really use it, but
It's
you
a waste
could if you needed to.
That's not
If
smart.
it was
though.
vital.
It's not smart though. You would just say it so everyone knows. Maybe your enemy knows, but then you could blow them up with a fireball, so you kill like half of them.
Maybe.
But like with Mage Hand, like you'd still like.
Maybe maybe this isn't a fight where it's just who's the strongest. Maybe it's very intricate. Like the wizard isn't even in the fight right now. Like it's like there's a fight going on, but you're kind of on a secret mission and you're trying to send something down. You know, like maybe you're sneaking up on the top. You're gonna try to pull the lever to bring down the ceiling, but you need to notify the barbarian when to retreat so you can pull it.
Or you could just walk up, run that way, use Mage Hand, pull the lever, boom, it's done.
But then you're under the ceiling. What are you talking about?
You move out of the way and then use your range and pull it.
No, but the whole.
It's quicker.
What do you mean? The barbarian is gonna get buried.
You could just say, yell, get out of the way, and then do it.
Then the villains also get out of the way. Do you not understand the point of the message?
But in the heat of combat, the villain is pertained to your opponent, right?
Yeah, if you yell, get out of the way,
but
and the barbarian gets out of the way, then the villain is also going to be like, oh, and I get out of the way.
No, but in combat, the message spell is horrible to use. It's unwise.
I get that, but there are still situations in which
not
you can
a
use
lot,
it.
though. You could still use
I'm not
Mage
claiming it's good for combat. It's amazing for everything else.
But basically,
Mage Hand is like minorly helpful.
But what we're arguing is what's better: be able to communicate with with one person at a time with action, or using that same action to interact with your environment. So let's say
you're not in combat, you could easily message everyone at once.
That is true.
So it's not. It's pretty much everyone. You could say point, whisper, point, whisper. You did it. Good job.
Well, yeah, but that also takes like what? Like
an extra
action.
2 seconds.
No, action is.
No, but if it's not in combat, you don't need to respect actions in that sense. It's 6 seconds, if that's what you're trying to figure out.
I think so. But all I'm saying is just when you're mostly in dungeons, which is freaking in the name, being able to use your environment is a lot more important than communication, I think. And most people generally use Mage Hand.
Are you talking about dungeons again? I'm saying in every
and
situation.
In combat too, there are certain situations where having Mage Hand is super useful.
Yes, dungeons.
Communications would not even work in certain situations.
Yes,
so
dungeons
what
where
we're debating,
you're encountering dangerous objects that have to be less than
not
10 pounds.
just dangerous objects.
What?
If you're testing, well, of course you want to use that for dangerous objects. If you say communication. Danger.
No, yes, it's interacting with dangerous objects or the possibility of dangerous objects, which would be traps.
Is very nice.
It's very nice,
so nice
in that situation. But message is helpful in every situation because it's communication. That's the most helpful thing there is.
But in certain situations, communication doesn't solve the problem. You have to.
Well, neither does Mage Hand. But I'm saying communication helps in a lot more problems.
I disagree.
It totally does.
No, it doesn't. Plus, most people use Mage Hand.
I think I know who should decide.
No, but mostly, last thing, most people actually use Mage Hand. It's one of the most popular spells in Dungeons and Dragons.
So is Message.
No, it's not. You could just pull out a phone, or and just you could.
Phone. What are you talking about?
There's literally a magic item that's like a message thing, and boom, you have.
I'm sure
it
there's
right
a magic item that does a magic hand as well. Ethan,
it's special.
I think I know who should decide.
The smart people will decide. You guys.
Yes. Well, the dumb people will also decide.
Mage Hand is superior.
And they'll be picking you.
No, they wouldn't. Most people use Mage Hand. Mage Hand is superior.
Yeah.
We'll let you decide. And we'll see you later next time on the Albert Bros Podcast. Peace.